Okay. So I want to tell you one thing to all. So if anyone want to finish the course in a little faster, okay, then you have to attend the 2 sessions in a daily manner, and so that it could be like 6:30 of PM of IST that you can converting into your time zone, and second one is the 6:30 AM of IST. Okay, so this is the two classes you should attend in a daily manner so that it could be easy for you to finish the course in a small time, in a enough time. Clear? So mainly Varun and Shrai, and so if you want to you need some kind of fast track info, fast track trying, right? So try to be connect with the 2 times. Clear? So 6:30 AM of IST, then what I want to share with the information, it could be like machine learning. From today onwards, I would like to start the machine learning module, so you can come to that particular session as well. Varun and Shrai, can you hear me or not?
Yes, sir.
So is this the time is suitable for you?
Yes, sure.
Okay, so you can attend the 6:30 AM of IST means what exactly your time? You can convert into your time, then you can come to that particular session. The link, it could be the same. Okay.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. Even Madhu and Chiru and Srija and Rahul and Ramu, you also can try to come for this session 6:30 AM of IST. Okay. So within this particular session, I would like to tell you, even sometime I can spend some time for how to market your resume. Okay. So that every information I can share with this particular time. And Ramu and Rahul and Srija, and so you three guys must be joined 6:30 AM of IST. And Varun and
Yes.
Dasray also, you also. But when it comes to the Chiru and Madhu, and it's all about your choice. Okay. If the time is possible, you can join. If time is not suitable for you, then don't need to join. Okay. Chiru and Madhu.
Okay, then actually it will be 4 a.m. to us.
Yeah, that's what. No, if it is possible for you, then you can. If it is not possible,
Okay.
you don't need to worry about it.
And then the
Okay.
Okay.
same thing will be shared in the 6:30 p.m. also, or only 6:30 a.m.
So 6:30 PM of IST. Now I am talking about database. Okay. 6:30 PM of IST, I'm talking about database at this moment. So once it is completed, then maybe I can talk about statistics. Okay.
Oh,
Then I can talk about Tableau. Okay. So this is the thing I would like to, this is the plan I have it. So once if these all things are done, then I can start the machine learning for you. Clear? For the same time. Clear or not?
yes,
So
sir. Okay.
So the only thing is that why we should waste the time. That's what the only thing, because of this all are individual models. Okay, one is not depending on the another one. The reason is that you guys are already done the Python programming language, so that you can habituated, you can easily understand the machine learning as well. You can easily understand the deep learning as well. You can easily understanding the natural language processing, and the SQL is SQL and Tableau and statistics. This is different things again. Okay. So one is not depending on another one. That's the reason we have a 2 time slots. And first one, 6:30 AM, which we are talking about SQL. And for this particular module, for this specific time, we are talking about database 6:30 PM of IST. But next time, morning time, I would like to talk about machine learning. So if time is possible, you can attend the 2 sessions. If time is not possible, you can attend only 1 session. Okay. Especially Madhu and Chiru and Madhu, it's all about your choice. But rest of the guys, make sure that you should attend all the sessions. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
The reason is that Madhu and Chiru, they both have already job and they're working. Okay. But rest of the guys like Amir and Prasad and Ramu and Chiru, Varun and Shrey. Okay, so you have to complete your training and you have to market yourself and you have to get a job, right? That's the reason. Try to connect in a 2 hours. I don't want to compromise the subject, guys. That's what the reason I'm going a little slow. Okay. Yep. Fine. So now I'm talking about a database, right? So the last class, what I discussed, what I was discussed with you. So when I'm talking about database, so I discussed about what is data and what is information. Okay. What is data and what is information? So data means it's a raw information, right?
Correct.
It's a raw information. So it's raw information. We are calling it a data. Basically, this data, it could be three type of data we have it. What are the data we have it? Unstructured data. Second one is semi-structured data. What about third one? Structured data. Is it correct or not? So basically, the data, it could be in a three formats. The first one is unstructured data. Second one is okay. Third one is
Unstructured, semi-structured, structured.
yeah. So unstructured. What happened? Yeah. So unstructured, semi-structured, and structured data, right? Okay. So let me give some example for unstructured data. So you might have some kind of images, right? Okay, images and videos. Okay, and some kind of text files. It could be like unstructured format. Okay, coming to the semi-structured data, you might see some kind of files, something like JSON files, XML files, right? These are the files we are calling it's a semi-structured data. Okay, and the structured data in the sense it could be like an Excel data. Okay, and so database, I mean Excel data and CSV files. Okay, these are all structured data. Okay, but the databases here we have an option is that databases, right? Databases means, so the databases, it could be stored the data in a structural format only. So when you have a structural data, okay, when you have structured data, then databases will help you to store it. Okay, I mean to manage that particular information. So even for maintaining this particular structured data, so we have a concept is relational databases. So when the database which is managing the structural data, that we are calling it a relational databases or relational database management system. So coming to that, unstructured data, semi-structured data. So we have a NoSQL. So have you heard about this particular NoSQL databases? Relational databases, it could be maintaining the structural data, and NoSQL databases, it could be maintaining the semi-structured, I mean, it could be like an unstructured data and semi-structured data could be maintained in the NoSQL. The example for the NoSQL database is MongoDB or else Azure Cosmo DB, something like this. Okay. Yep. So here my intuition of this concept is, so you already understood the what exactly the data and what are the type of data we have it, and what is information in the sense the piece of some data, it could be talk about some specific thing that we are calling it say information. So databases means it's a servers or else it could be like it could be it could be central disk, and it could be maintained, it can be stored the data in a tabular formats, right? Okay, for that one, we have a server, database server. You should have a database servers. So the database server, it could have, it could be, it could have some kind of databases. Okay, multiple databases to maintain the databases. Okay, or else, so the database server, it might have the databases. Okay, the databases, it is having tables inside of the databases. It might have the tables. So to maintain these particular databases and tables from the database server, at the client side, you should have a software. The name of the software is It's a database management system. Database management system. So this is the software. This is the software. It will help you to connect. It will help you to connect the database server, DB servers. Okay. Once if you're connected to your DB server, then whatever the thing you want to do that, whatever the operations you want to do that on the, whatever the operations you want to do on the database server, you can do from the database management system, because database server, it's a computer. Okay, you cannot work directly on that particular database server. The database server, it was available in a somewhere else. Okay, the database management system, it will help you to connect the database server and to manage the databases and to manage the tables, to create the table, to create the databases. And meanwhile, you can insert the data into the tables, and you can delete the data from the tables. So whatever you want to do that on the database, that everything we can do from the database management system. So here we should have the software is, I mean, you should have a language is, what language we are using for database to manage the databases. Tell me. SQL, right? So SQL is the language. It could help you to write some kind of queries. The queries we have to execute from the database management system. From the database management system, we can write the SQL queries and we can execute the SQL queries so that we can manage the database server through the SQL language. Clear? So this particular course, we are talking about the Microsoft SQL Server. The first thing is that we have to go for install the Microsoft SQL Server in your laptops. Okay. So let me open the Google and type the Microsoft SQL Server. Okay, Microsoft SQL Server. And so we have developer and enterprises, two versions are there. So we are downloading the Express. So type the Microsoft SQL Server Express, and it could be available 2022 or 2019, something like this. Okay, so we are downloading the Microsoft SQL Server 2019 Express, and here we have a download option. It could be absolutely free, and you can download. And once download is done, then you have to go for install it. Okay, it will take only few minutes of time for installation, not more than that. I hope you clear, right? So our first thing is that first step is download the Microsoft SQL Server Express 2019. Okay, and then install. Okay, the second one is that by the time of installation of Microsoft SQL, the last step, it could be asking download the SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio. So that you have to go for downloading that software as well. Microsoft SQL Server Management. Yes.
It's asking for type of installation.
Basic.
Okay.
So once installation is done, SQL Server installation is done. SQL Server, it's a server. So the SQL Server and the database management system, usually I am installing the same computer, but real time SQL Server, which was in somewhere else. Okay, and the SQL Server management system, which is available with you. Okay, so but I don't have a server, I don't have anything, right? So that I'm installing the SQL Server in my local computer. Then my local computer, it could be the local host server. Okay, and the second one is that SQL Server Management Studio, you have to go for download it. The second step is you have to download this one. Okay, here we have an this link. So from this one, we can download this one. Okay. Yep. So we have to download this SSMS. So next step is what? Download the what you want to download. SQL Server SSMS in the sense SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, that links I can provide you so that you can download from that particular links only. So instead of confusion something else. So can copy. So this is the link. This is the link. From this particular link, you can download and installing the SQL Server Studio. Second one is we have to go for downloading the SQL Server Management Studio, right? This is the link. We can go to this specific link and we can install and we can download and installing the Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. Okay. If the both are download and installation is completed, then only you can connect from your SQL Server Management Studio to your SQL Server. Otherwise, which is not possible. Let me see how we can the interface, how it would be looks like. I just want to show you. So first thing is that once installation is done, then SQL Server Management Studio, which is there in a recent, or else we can type SSMS. Okay, SSMS. Once if we type the SSMS or else SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, so which could be there in the top of it, batch match, which is available. You just double click on it. Once if you double click on it, which is opening the Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. It is opened, then you are eligible to connecting the SQL. Yes, if you open, okay, you will get this kind of connected to the server. Okay, by default. So here, the server type is it's a Microsoft engine, and the next one is server name is localhost / SQL Express. And the authentications are by default, which is taking your Windows authentications, and otherwise you have maybe by the time SQL authentications also could be there. But so my SQL server, which is there in my local computer, so that I'm giving that my Windows authentications only. Okay, so connect. So once if you connect, then it could be looks something like this. Clear? So now from the Microsoft SQL, you are connected to the SQL Server Management Studio. Sorry. From the SQL Server Management Studio to you connected the SQL Server. Okay. Is it clear or not? So once if you
can you please repeat the server name, please? Localhost, you're saying?
See, by the time of connections, so you should have the server name, right? In real time, usually the company, they will providing the IP address and the port number. Okay.
Correct.
IP and port number. Okay. In real time, I'm talking in real time. Real time means when you're working in a company. Okay. So meanwhile, it could have some kind, authentication. Authentications also credential. Authentications is nothing but the credentials. As a developer, by the time of joining into that particular company, okay. So the credentials of SQL's database server credentials, they are providing, With help of that particular credentials only, you can connect from the database SQL Server Management Studio to SQL Server. Okay. But I am in a local host, right? That means my server and my server, my DB server. I'm in local host, right? My DB server and my SSMS both are in the same laptop, same location. So that's the reason you don't need to worry about server actually. You don't need to worry about server name. So the server name, okay, the server name, it could be localhost / SQL Express. So why it is Express? The reason is that by the time of installation, you are giving the name is this one only. You're giving the name is localhost Express only. Okay, the server name what you are given by the time of installation of the SQL server, that name only we have to be provided. Okay. So within the same
Okay.
laptop, within the same mission, you might have the multiple database server within the single database, with the same database management studio, you can connecting the multiple database servers. Actually, I think I'm facing some issue. This document, I'm creating the new one. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, fine. Yep. See, while installations time, while SQL Server installation time. Okay. So we have to give the server name. Okay. But actually, this will do by real time. Admins can do that. You don't need to worry about it because you don't need to install the SQL Server. When you're working in a company, so the database server which they are already installed. Okay. So you don't need to worry about server name and you don't need to worry about IP address. You don't need to worry about credentials. They are providing to you, okay, with this particular database management studio. Okay. So you can connect actually. So you can disconnect and you can connect. So this is disconnection. This is for connection. If you click on this one, it will asking like, SQL Server connections. So here we mentioned that, by the time of installation of SQL Server, I given the server name is SQL Express. So that I'm giving the server name is SQL Express. But in real time, it could like, port number, IP address. And you just click on the connect. So automatically it can be connected from your SQL Server Management Studio to SQL Server. So this SQL Server Management Studio and SQL Server both are installed in my local computer. That's the reason you are able to connect it. Otherwise, you cannot. Okay. Clear? What happened, guys? Have you following or not?
Yes, Sanjay.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So simple thing, in your laptop, you should have the server, SQL Server. You should have the SQL Server Management Studio. If both are done, the way of connection is very simple thing. Okay. So when you open the SQL Server Management Studio, here we have an option is connect Object Explorer. If you click on this one, you will be getting this kind of pop-up. And here you have to mention the server name. And so authentications are Windows authentication you can provide. Why I am giving with Windows authentications? Because my SQL Server and my SQL Server Management Studio both are in my local computer. That's the reason I'm giving this thing. So if we click on connect, then I can able to connecting my SQL Server from the SQL Server Management Studio. Once connection is done, I want to check that what are the databases we have it. See, here we have the system database and database snapshot and intro_db. This is the database I created yesterday. I want to delete this particular database. So if you want to delete this particular database, here we have a right click option and here we can have delete option is there. You can simply delete it. But I want to delete from the query. If you delete from the query, here we have a new query option is there. If you click on the new query, you will get this kind of thing. Okay. See, when you click on this one here, which is showing me like an intro DB, that means you are connected the intro underscore database. So I want to, it should be the masters. So otherwise, what you should do actually, you have to use the, you can write the use masters. Make sure that every time you are in the master, okay? Use master, otherwise it will be an issue. So see, I'm in a intro underscore DB. I'm using the drop, okay, and drop database intro underscore DB. So this is the command I want to be execute. But if I want to execute this one, and it, when I'm executing this one, by the time you are in this particular database only, same database, you are in the same database and you're deleting it. Is it possible? You will be getting this kind of error. Okay. So what is the error we are getting? You
No.
cannot drop the database. It was under use. Currently you are in use. Okay. How you are deciding that which is in use? Because here it is showing me like, database name. Whatever the database here it is showing me, which means that you're currently working on that particular database. So that's the reason. So every time when you are working, when you want to do that, so the first statement is use master. When I'm using the use master, that means you are setting, you are working on the master database, and then you're eligible to delete this particular database now. Okay. And you can execute this one. See, it was executed or not? I hope what is the use of this particular command? Did you got it? Use is the command.
Yeah, to connect the particular database.
Command to use the specific database. Okay, so which database you want to be used? So you can set with help of the use command and
Anjan?
followed by the database. Yes.
And so that means the access privileges between the databases for one user, it will be auto granted.
Sorry, I'm not getting your question.
See, we have intro DB, right?
Yes, this is
And
another
you have
database.
connected through the master. So master
No,
is
no,
a
no. You are
database or
not
what
connected.
is-
You are not connected through master database. Okay. See, actually, you are into, by default, you are into intro underscore DB. You are into this particular database, but you're trying to be deleting
Okay.
the same database. So which is not at all possible. That's the reason
Yes,
you
sir.
have to come back that one. That means you must be somewhere else. By default, master is the main database. Okay. See, in a system database.
No, why? Because
Yeah, in system
okay,
databases,
understood.
we have here we have some default databases are there. One is the master,
Okay.
model, MSDB, and TempDB. These are the
Understood.
core system databases are there. So if you're, this is user database in the sense user created. I created this database. Okay. So that's the reason you are into same database and you are deleting the same database, which is not at all possible. So that don't delete any system databases. Okay, system databases will help you to do some kind of operations and to manage this SQL Server Management Studio with a proper format so that we require the system databases. Okay.
See,
So-
that's what usually in this case you ran the command, right? That command won't execute in the live, right? Until unless if they don't have access from master to intro DB.
Again, I'm telling that you're not executing from the master. Okay. So you can connect any database with help of use command. The only reason I'm using the use master is I just need to come out from this here. That's it. I have to come out from this particular intro DB to somewhere else.
Okay.
You might in the master, you might in the model, you might in somewhere else. It's up to you. Okay.
Okay. So understood.
Yep. So this way you can able to delete the database from the query. Okay. Yep. And I want to go for, and I want to create the database. If you want to create the database from the, okay, from the database, okay, I want to give the command is, this is command 2 lines two lines which indicating that it's a comment in SQL. This is the comment. Once if you comment, it won't execute it in SQL. Deleting the database. If you want to delete the database, drop followed by the database and followed by the database name. Usually commands, it could be in a capital letters. Try to be used in a capital letters commands so that you can easily understood. Okay, it's a command. Okay, clear? And I want to go for creating the database. How you can creating the database? So here by user interface, here we have an option is new database. Okay, if you click on the new database, you will have an option to create the database name. For example, I want to be creating the student management studio or employee management studio. So every database you can try to start with a capital letter and don't use the spaces. Even you can use the spaces by the time of accessing of the databases. So it could be trouble for you. So that so try to be avoiding the spaces in between the words. So how you can avoid with help of the underscore, or else if you want to be try to be give that every word it could be the separate. So you can start with a new capital letter. Management. Okay, management DB. Okay, so this way you can create. So graphically you created and you can refresh, and the previous introduction DB is gone. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I would like to go for creating the see, this is the database you created, right? But it was created graphically, but I want to create through command. So for creating the database through command, create database followed by the database name. For example, database name is employee management DB. See, same database which is already existed, but even though you are trying to be executing the same command. So if you want to execute only one command, then you can select this particular command. And here we have an option is execute. We can click on. So database employee is already existed. See, this is the same database I already created with UI interface. But with command interface, I would like to go for creating the same database, which we are getting an error. The error is the database is already existed. Then I want to create the new database and I'm giving the different name. Okay, now we can now select that command and execute that one. Now the command completed successfully or not. So this way you can creating the database and you can delete the database. Clear? Yes. And
Yeah, I
now
got it.
you can refresh this one. See, actually, you were unable to refreshing this one.
I think Anjan, if you reconnect, I think it will update.
That option is not working properly. There could be some.
Refresh in the connectivity level.
See, here previously intro underscore DB, it was deleted or not?
Yeah, delete.
Yeah,
Actually,
now
the problem with
the-
refresh only.
yeah, now the refresh is working properly. Okay. Now I want to be rename. No, already employment management DB1 is there. I want to remodify that name. Okay. If you want to remodify that name, now So what I can do here, we have a rename option. Okay, so simply you can, so same user interface. Say user interface is something like, normal software only. Okay, so now you are updated. See, again, the same command I'm executing. So now let me check employment management DB1. Is it existed or not? Which is not there, right? I renamed, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
you are renamed, but after you renamed, I want to create the same database again. So which we are getting an error. Okay, which we are getting an error. So that means when you're creating the database, internally there could be two files could be created. Two.
Mhm.
Okay, so MDL something it could be created. Okay, so that you cannot see here, but by the time of creation, I just want to show you. Okay, so let me try new database. By the time of creation of the database, see management, employee management. See here, be some files are creating. See, yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm creating only one database, but there are two default files are creating. One is log and one is another one. So file type is rows and log, right? So this is the file is the primary file. So this is the name which is not modifying. Because of that one, you're unable to creating the same database, even the database is not existed. Clear? But if you change the name, if you altered the name with the command, if you change the name instead of UI, if I'm using the UI, if you rename it, internal file names are not changing. Only the outer fit name it was changing. Okay, internal name is not changing. Internally, there are two files are created. Those names are not changing. Okay, when I'm using the UI interface for renaming, but what I can do, I can rename. I can rename. With help of the UI, if I rename it, there could be some kind of issue. So the files, internal files are not changing, but the same thing I can rename through command. How can you rename the database? Stray and Varun, can you tell me? Alter. Tell me the command. Anybody?
Alter existing database name, then rename to new database. New database name.
Alter.
Existing database name, then the keyword rename, then the new database name. Thinking, I'm not exactly sure.
Tell me anyone.
I think so. If it is maybe similar to Oracle, then I can tell you. Alter, rename, then database name to
Alter
old
database.
name to new name.
Just wait. Alter database and then existing database. What is the existing database? Employee management. Employee management DB DB1. Okay, and here we have a modify. Modify. Okay, name equal to. So what is the target name you want to give it?
Yeah, with underscore, employee underscore,
DB2.
management underscore.
So if you want to write some spaces and everything, then we can use the square bracket. Within the square brackets, you can write even you can with if I'm using the square brackets, you can give the spaces between the names. Okay, but most of the time, please avoid these spaces. So employee, okay, underscore management DB, right? 1. So if I execute this one, so DB1 is already existed. Does not existed. Make sure name is entered. Okay, you can refresh it. Okay, it was renamed. See, actually the entire code it was executed previously. Okay, so now you selected this one and you executed. So database name is changed or not? Okay, after that one, I would like to execute the same command. After that one, I want to execute the same command. Okay, but this time, so previously I renamed with the UI interface. After that one, I creating the same different database after you modified, then you're getting an error. But now you won't get any kind of error. Okay. So files is list not be created. There could be some issue. Okay. Employee management DB1. The files are existed. Yep. I hope you clear how we can creating the database and how we can delete the database and how we can rename the database. Okay, through queries. Any questions? Any questions?
No.
Yes. So if you want to save this particular, if you want to save this particular file, a SQL file, then you can save it. And it was saving in the .SQL file format, and you can save these things in your in your folders wherever you want to save these particular folders. Then you can save it. Okay. So we are working in the database, right? So database queries, because we are not working any tables at this moment. So we are working only on databases. So when you're working with the databases, creating, altering, and deleting, that means dropping, only these 3 options we have it. Okay. So as of now, that's fine. Any questions? So make sure that what you should do, you can able to go for download the database server, SQL Server, and SQL Server Management Studio. Then you can connect from the SQL Server Management Studio to SQL Server. Then we can try to be execute some kind of commands. Okay.
Okay.
Clear?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Bye. Take care.
Okay. Thank you, Anjay.